Man Bun Metalhead here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to MIDI control multiple pedals and an amp using the Boss ES-8. Stay tuned. So one of the coolest things on the Boss ES-8 is the ability to send out MIDI messages in order to change patches on pedals and such. So in this video, I have 3 pedals set up, and I'm going to control those with the ES-8, and I'm also going to control my JP2C as well. So the first thing you want to do is set all these up in a MIDI chain. So we'll just need regular 5-pin MIDI cables. So first you're going to send the ES-8 MIDI out. You're going to connect that to your first pedal, MIDI in, and then that pedal, MIDI out, to the next pedal, MIDI in, out, in, so on and so forth. So the way I have mine set up is I have my ES-8 going to my timeline, so the MIDI in of my timeline. The MIDI out of the timeline goes to the MIDI in of the Mobius. MIDI out of the Mobius actually goes to my JP2C. The reason I do that, I don't do all my pedals, is because my other pedal down here, the Source Audio EQ, does not have a MIDI out. So the JP2C does. So I go MIDI in of the JP2C, then I go take the MIDI out from here, and I go to the MIDI in of the programmable EQ. So your setup should be pretty similar. If you have multiple pedals that have only a MIDI in and no MIDI out, you might be in trouble there. You might need to get some MIDI splitters. So look into that if that's the case. Now, once you have that set up, you need to set up the MIDI channels on all your devices. Now, I'm not worried about the MIDI channel on my ES-8. I'm worried about the MIDI channel on all 3 of my pedals and the MIDI channel on my JP2C. Now, you want all these set up on different channels. If you don't, then what's going to happen is when you tell the, say for instance, tell the timeline to switch channel and it's on the same channel as the Mobius, they're both going to switch to that same channel. Now, if you want that to happen, feel free, go ahead and do that. But I want to keep this as open as possible. I want to only control one pedal or one device with a MIDI message. So you might not have these pedals or these devices, but you can look at your manual and it'll tell you how to change the MIDI channel. So in the Mobius and the timeline are pretty much the same. I'm going to hold down this button to go to the global parameters, say globals, and then I'm going to go over to MIDI channel. So I'm going to switch on that. And now this is MIDI channel 3. So I'm going to leave that where it's at. I'm happy with that. There's one other thing we want to worry about when we're passing MIDI through from one device to another, and that is the MIDI through option. So in this, it's MIDI TH. Click on that and that's on. So that's going to happen if it was off. What would happen is when the ES-8 got to the Mobius, it would stop any messages from going through to the next. So we want to keep that on just to keep kind of that flow going. So we have our timeline Mobius set up. This is going to be MIDI channel 1. This is going to be MIDI channel 3. Go over to our source audio. I'm going to hit these 2 buttons, and you see over here I have a 2. So that's going to be my channel. I could switch that up and down if I wanted to, but I'm going to keep that at 2. Go back and double check, and we're good. Okay. Now the JP2C, I am going to be MIDI channel 16, and that is switched from the back here. There's a little dial to switch that to. It's actually on F, which is 16. So once we have all of that set up, we've got all our physical connections. We've got our MIDI channels set up. We've got our MIDI through set up on all the channels. Now we want to go ahead and start setting up our patches on the ES-8. There's 2 ways you can do this. One is physically on the ES-8, and the other is through the MIDI editor. Now, I prefer that. I've got a video on that, on how kind of a basic overview of it. Check that out. But it's so much easier to set up this ES-8. I will show you both ways. So we're going to go to my ES-8, and I'm going to switch to, we're going to go to channel 9.1 just to start with a fresh patch. So I'm going to go to edit button, and I'm going to go over here to patch, hit enter on patch, and then usually starts over here on the loop on off, but you want to just go over here until you get to patch MIDI 1. You can have up to, I think, 8. So you have 8 patch MIDI messages. So we're going to start with number 1. So we're actually going to be sending 4, 1 for each pedal and amp. So first we start with the channel. So what channel do we want to send? And we're going to go with channel 1. And that is our timeline, remember? So I'm going to go to channel 1, and then program change is what you want to change for most pedals. Now, this is really going to be dependent on what pedal you're using or what device you're using. So really look at the manuals to get understanding what that is, but typically a program change is what's going to do it. So program change, I'm going to go, let's say with, I don't know, something like 5. I don't think I use 5, but we'll just use that. Now this is very important. Once you have that set up, you know what channel you want to go to, you know what program you want to go to. You want to go to the next menu, and you're going to have a control 1 with the CC number, and then you're going to go over one more and you have a control number 2 with another CC number. With this one, you want to make sure you turn these off unless you want to use those CC numbers, those control change numbers. Because what's going to happen is it's going to send another control change to that device as well. So those control changes might actually mess with something or try to change a setting in your device. So just to be safe, you want to turn that off. So I'm going to go do the first one, we do the second one. All right, so that's it for the first device. So we're going to go to our next device. We're going to go MIDI 2, which is my programmable EQ. Now again, we want to go over to channel 2. We want to go to program change. We'll go with 4, let's say. And then we're going to again go back here, turn these off. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and set up my Mobius and my JP2C. So there's one thing, if you saw there, one little trick that I had forgotten about actually is as you're going up and down in values, if you're going up and you then press the minus by going up, it'll skip in numbers of 10, so you don't have to hold it for so long. Just a little trick to get things done a little quicker. So one thing you need to make sure to change is the transmit auto function. So in each MIDI patch change, you want to go all the way to the right, and then you're going to have auto selected here or manual. You want to make sure it's just auto so that it automatically changes to whatever patch you're selecting. So now I selected all 4 of my patches. I'm going to go here, exit, and now I'm back to the main screen there. We want to make sure that we save this channel so that we save our changes. So we'll hold down the memory, come up with a quick edit. I'm going to hit this a couple times and it's going to execute the save. Just to double check, we're going to go to edit, patch, MIDI 4. And if we go over, we can see actually I did not save that down to 0. So we're going to go to off there. I goofed. We'll save that again. All right, so now that I've got that all set up, and we're going to see all of these change when I hit this button. So they all changed from where they were at to whatever I had it set up to. So I'm going to go back to kind of my main setup here, and you can see as I'm going through all these that they're going to change as they do. So that is setting it up on the ES-8, all the setup that you need to do. Now let's go over to the ES-8 editor. So here we are in the ES-8 editor. If you haven't checked this out yet before, go ahead and check out my other video, tell you how to set it up and all that and get you going. So we can see here that I have this 9.1 is what I had set up before. So we can actually check the MIDI output. We can see we have channel 1 going to PC5, 2 to 4, 3 to 6, 16 to 8. And then I have all the CC numbers are off, which is where we wanted that. So we can go ahead and start a new one. So we'll start with patch 2 on bank 9. So we'll start this exact same way. So show you one, we'll go channel 1. We're going to do the PC change. I don't remember what we did, but it doesn't really matter. So we're going to go 5. We're going to turn our control numbers off. And that's one channel, and we'll do the next. All right, so there we go. So once we have that all set up, we can do whatever else we want in the channel. I'm going to go ahead and just change the name on here. We're going to hit right, and then we can switch to any other channel we want, but we're going to go ahead and just execute it. Now it is set to go. So we'll go back to 9.1. You can see our old settings pop up, and then go to the sample MIDI that I just did. And we can see that we have that. So that's all you need to know to set up multiple MIDI devices with the Boss ES-8. So if this video helped you out, please give me a like down there. It helps me out a lot. And if you want to see more videos on gear reviews and tech tips, feel free to subscribe to my channel. You'll be notified as soon as those come out. But hey, until next time, rock on.